Call it the LG G6 Mini. We have the LG Q6 up for review and it looks just like the LG G6 miniaturized. Now the LG Q6 is an affordable phone with an edge-to-edge bezel-less display, a first of its kind in this affordable phone price segment. It costs around €350 in Europe and it's not yet available in the US. So what is it all about? What compromises does it make to arrive at that lower price point? We're about to find out. Stay tuned for our LG Q6 review. First up, we start with the design and the display of the LG Q6, which are its signature features. Unlike the LG G6, the phone is made out of plastic on the back. And here's the thing about the plastic, it scratches extremely easily. Just after 2 or 3 days of regular use without doing anything extreme to the LG Q6, its back was badly scratched and you'll see this in the close-ups. It's really bad, and this is just after 2 or 3 days of use. The frame here is metal and it's fortified. It's made sure to withstand military grade standards for drop tests, so it's really well built except for that plastic back cover. Now the other big highlight of the LG Q6 is just its physical size. It's a 5.5-inch display phone, yet it feels and its physical size is almost exactly the same as the one on the iPhone 7. So take a look, here is the iPhone 7, here is the LG Q6. The difference is really not all that big, and this is a great thing about having a 5.5-inch display phone in the physical size of a mini 4.7-inch display phone of the older type. Now to achieve this, the LG Q6 ships with a taller display. The LG Q6 uses an LCD panel with a 2:1 aspect ratio, which means it is narrower, it's a taller display. It has one issue, which is over sharpening. Now back in the day, we had the LG G3 for review. This was a few years ago, and the LG G3 was one of the first phones with a Quad HD display, very high resolution, but it featured artificial over sharpening, which made everything look a bit nasty. Especially when you read text, you could notice those edges were kind of shining, and we have the same annoying effect here on the LG Q6. It features the same over sharpening, which is not that great. The screen on the other side is fairly good in terms of color reproduction. It's not that bad at all, but it is the over sharpening that is really the deal breaker here. Since this is an all-screen bezel-less display, we have no buttons up front, it's just the screen. It supports LG's knock-on, you just double tap on the display to fire it up and double tap to lock it, just like so. On the bottom side we have a micro USB port for charging and syncing the device, no USB-C here. We have a 3.5mm audio jack for connecting your favorite set of headphones, and that's nice to have. We also have card slots. You have your SIM card slot and you also have a micro SD card slot, while on the back of the phone you have a single camera, no dual camera fancy stuff here, and you also have a loudspeaker on the bottom side of the back of the LG Q6, and that's about it. Now there's one important thing about the LG Q6, and it is the lack of a fingerprint scanner. There is no one on the back, there is no fingerprint scanner on the front, it's just not here. Instead, you can unlock the LG Q6 by just using your traditional PIN code, or you can use face recognition. Now, we tried using face recognition in the office, and in the beginning it seemed like it worked pretty well. You could unlock the phone, but then we took it out in real life and it was a disappointment. The face recognition only works at a certain distance, at a certain light conditions, and we found it in most of the cases it just doesn't recognize our face and you have to go back to typing your code, and it's just annoying. It's slower than a fingerprint scanner, and this is one of the biggest drawbacks of the LG Q6. So once you unlock the phone, you get to see Android 7 Nougat with LG's custom user interface. LG's interface has not changed much in the last few years, and it remains this cartoony, very colorful affair that looks a bit dated, to be quite honest. You have other skins like Samsung's that has evolved quite a bit and looks very modern, and here you have all sorts of weird effects like this jelly effect here. It looks funny, it doesn't look grown up, and Some people may like it, but it's not our cup of tea. And by default, the LG Q6 ships without an app drawer, so it's a bit like an iPhone, but you can enable the app drawer in settings if you prefer to do that. You also get a notification drop down, you get LG's memo where you just snap a screenshot and you can easily annotate it, which is nice. And you get multitasking, a standard feature of Android, which works fairly well here on the LG Q6. Now, what about performance? This is one of the weakest points of the LG Q6. The phone is powered by the Snapdragon 430 system chip. Now, as you can tell by the name, the Snapdragon 430 is an entry-level chip, so it's nowhere near close flagship level hardware, and you can tell this especially in games, especially in Facebook, especially in more demanding apps where scrolling is stuttery, the game performance is not as fast, the phone drops frames. It's not the perfect phone for gamers. If you're only using the LG Q6 in your daily grind, you're just making phone calls, checking your email, of course you will not have major issues. So the phone is just fine for that. But if you want to do something more demanding, the LG Q6 might not be the best choice. In terms of native storage, you have 32 GB on board, but you can also expand on that via micro SD card, so that's nice. That's a good amount of storage for such an affordable phone. Now, what about the camera? Now, there's a single camera on the back and there's a front-facing snapper, of course, and the images it takes are pretty good. Pretty good for the class, of course. They're nothing groundbreaking, nothing extremely great here, but still good-looking images with nice amount of detail, 13 megapixel snaps. So you get the usual stuff. It's pretty fast as well. The camera focuses well. Everything is okay. When it comes to the front-facing camera, however, not that great. Detail is scant, and the pictures turn very over-sharpened, not as pleasing. So if you're into taking a lot of selfies, this probably is not the best choice for you. And in terms of video recording, you should know that the LG Q6 does not support 4K video, so this will be a huge downside for those people who like better video quality. It only supports 1080p, but it's stable, it's good looking, so it's not that bad. And next up, battery life. On our custom-made test where we pass all our phones through that test, we saw the LG Q6 score more than 8 hours of screen on time, which is way above the average, and it's pretty good score. And in real life use, it translates to 1 day, so you get 1 full day of intense use and the phone will not die, which is great for a modern phone. Not extraordinary, but still better than average and better than the LG G6 in fact, so this is something to keep in mind. Lastly, let's talk about price, competitors, and what can you get for that kind of money. Now, we told you that the LG Q6 is priced at 350 euro in Europe, but interestingly enough, in India of all markets, it costs only around 200 euro, which is far less. So we're commenting on the European price, which is where we're closer located to. So compared to European pricing, the LG Q6 really has quite a few rivals. You can get the excellent Honor 9, which with a much better camera, much better performance, much better processor, more refined design for just slightly more in terms of actual price. You can also get the waterproof Samsung Galaxy A5 2017 with its excellent design, and the LG Q6 does not have waterproofing, so that's one thing to keep in mind. You can also get the Apple iPhone SE if you don't mind the smaller display. The iPhone SE has a better camera, has a vastly superior performance, it has iOS, which comes with better games, better apps, and games that just arrive faster to that platform. So overall, at the end of the day, the LG Q6 is the first edge-to-edge affordable phone with a 5.5-inch display that fits in the body as big as an iPhone 7. So really compact, really nice display in terms of screen-to-body ratio, and a great phone for daily use, but not so much for power use. If you're into gaming and if you're into more intense tasks, the LG Q6 is probably not the right phone, and that price in Europe is a bit high, so we're waiting for LG to drop it a little bit and then we can safely recommend the LG Q6 to more people. So that's our quick review of the LG Q6 here at PhoneArena.com. If you want to see the full detailed review with our tests, with our benchmarks, we have that at PhoneArena.com. Make sure to check us out.